So then what happens with RedShield? We've taken a completely different approach, which says, you know what? How about we look at what you're vulnerable to? So yeah, if we were to, provide you safety on the streets, then to kind of go, Ed, I will block every bad pathogen that exists. That's one problem space. But you'll go, but Andy, I'm allergic to peanuts. So you know what? Right now, I could let in all the pathogens, but as long as I don't let a peanut get near you, you're good. Whereas on the flip side, I blocked all the bad stuff, and then you picked up a nut bar by mistake. Boof. It's like, crap. So this is where what we did is, because of our years of pen testing, shielding is a very, very test-centric approach. So what we'll do with our customers is, if you haven't been pen tested or scanned, we will put up generic flaws, and at this point, we'll look a lot like a WAF, because we'll just block the obvious bad stuff. Where the difference is, if you go to your WAF vendor and say, hey, here's my last failed pen test, go crazy and make it look better. Now, WAF will just kind of go, we can turn on our WAF rules. If we fix some of your stuff, that's good. But that's it. You don't give your pen test findings to your WAF vendor. They'll kind of go, yeah, what do I do with it? We're completely the opposite. We want your pen test findings, because what we'll do is we will either have or develop custom shields specifically for your problems. And so if you look at how that works differently, think of RedShield. I often talk to people about, we've got our heads around thin client, fat client. Thin client in the day was very simple. Then we got fat clients, which got highly functional. So WAF is very much like that thin proxy. It's a proxy layer, but it's very basic. It blocks obvious bad stuff. RedShield is a fat proxy. We actually have code running in the proxy layer. So a shield isn't a regex blocking bad stuff. A shield might actually be a couple of thousand lines of code. The shield actually will have session state of your activity. It knows who you are, knows what your roles are. We may make third-party calls to APIs. So we will call things like, have I been pwned, to see if these credentials are stolen. We'll make calls to verify the validity of certain credit card data. We'll do scanning of uploaded files. So these are things that you do in context. So this is where we actually have security code at that proxy layer. And so we might actually call other APIs. We may modify what you see on the screen. We'll perform a business step, but it's just done in isolation. And the reason we did it is to remove a vulnerability that exists. So now when the bad guys try to exploit, these 2,000 lines of code got released in minutes. They sit in front of your app. They are a shield. Your alternative was to upgrade SAP. So that was one way that you could have fixed this problem, or you could have got a third-party, development company to rewrite some of your code. Instead, the shield goes up. And so in the early days of RedShield, there was a lot of custom shield creation. Now our library has thousands of shields. We've seen so many of these problems all day long that actually now, when you come along as a new customer, we've probably got a shield for that already. And so now this is where the kind of the AI and automation at scale comes in, is how quickly can we recognize exactly your vulnerability on your stack? Do we have a shield that fits automatically, or is there some customization of a shield that's required?